Good afternoon and welcome everyone. I am Mary Jiang, president of the Oakland Rotary Club, founded in 1908. We are the third oldest club of some 36,000 Rotary clubs in over 200 countries around the world. We are a diverse community of 270 business, professional, and community leaders who unite to serve our local and international communities through a commitment to service above self. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our 5,405th meeting online. For over 114 years, we have welcomed Rotarians and guests to our club meeting. For those attending online, if you are visiting Rotarian or a guest of a Rotarian, please enter your name in the chat box located in the center at the bottom of the screen so that we can recognize you in a few minutes. If you have comments or want to ask a question of the speaker, please use the chat box. We recommend you viewing today's meeting using speaker view located in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Now, for our thought for the day, I'd like to welcome Rotarian Carrie Hamill.
Well, when I heard that the topic for today's speaker was self-driving cars, and that it made me think that we're headed into a future world where technology is taking our wheel. I must admit that my first response was fear. So in the interest of facing my fears and accepting the future, I chose a quote by a famous cultural influencer named Erica Jong, who wrote Fear of Flying. And her statement is, I have accepted fear as a part of life. I have gone ahead despite the pounding in my heart that says, turn back. So, as she says, Rotarians, let's keep moving forward and facing the future.
Thank you, Carrie. What a wonderful way of facing our fears. And what we don't know is what we fear. What we do know, we would be more accepting. Thank you. All right. Could we pull up the vision statement for today? Thank you. Please join me in reciting the Rotary vision statement. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities and in ourselves. All right, so guests are welcome to our meetings. Past District Governor and past President Ed Jelen. Do we have any visiting Rotarian online today?
Hello, President Mary and Rotarians. My job is going to be secure for at least one more week because we do have a visiting Rotarian with us today. He's Doug Moss from the Oakland Uptown Club. So welcome, Doug. Nice to have you with us.
Okay. I think Tom Limon, there's another guest. Welcome guest, Nick Peterson.
Yeah, Nick Peterson is the brother of a good friend of mine from college. And so Nick has always been really interested in Rotary, and he's attended a couple of our events, and would just like to welcome Nick for attending. And Nick is a big fan of technology. So welcome, Nick.
Great. All right. And as other guests log on, just put in a chat box that you're a guest or visiting Rotarian or guest of Rotarian. We'll try to, and Ed Jelen will be vigilantly looking to recognize you later. All right. Thank you. So, Tom, last week you mentioned you were celebrating and had a discussion about the Hispanic Heritage Month. Could you tell us about a social event that we could celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month?
Sure. Thank you, President Mary. On the Oakland Ballet is doing a ballet around the celebration of Dia de los Muertos. And so Friday, October 28th and Saturday, October 29th, they'll be running two shows. The Rotary Club has purchased 20 tickets which are available on our website on the calendar page. I believe the price is $50 per ticket, which is below the market price. So, it's first come, first serve, please come. And then the other thing is on Sunday, October 30th, the Unity Council will be hosting the annual Dia de los Muertos Festival in Fruitvale. So that's a free festival. It's very accessible. Public transportation's encouraged, but that's a free event. And I'll be looking to do an altar next year to honor past Rotarians at this event. Thank you, President.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. And last week we had the social event King Lear, and that went fast. So like Tom says, only 20 tickets. So first come, first serve. Please order quickly to get your ticket. All right, Ahmad Anderson, could you tell us about an upcoming football and tailgate event?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, President Mary. I'd like to make you aware that October 22nd is the Hall of Fame game at the University of California versus Washington. At that particular game, they will feature the Hall of Fame inductees. One of those inductees will be Marshawn Lynch in the class of 2021, but the other inductee will be myself, Ahmad Anderson, in the class of 2022. Some of you may know that I played for the Bears. Some of you know that I created the Bear territory. But as you see in front of you, this is the big play of 1982, where I was one of the defensive captains. And I think what is really, really special about being inducted, it wasn't about how many tackles I had or how many interceptions or touchdowns. It is a service award. It was service that I provided as a leader on campus, service I provided as one of the administrators on the campus for 13 years, and most importantly to us, the service to the community. And as I've always said, and I think we all live by it, the rent we pay to live on this earth is giving back to the community. And I hope when my time comes and I leave this earth, I will be paid up in full. So we look forward to seeing you all. There are discounted tickets. And Tom is able to provide this information and some also, and thank you Rotary for purchasing those tickets and also the t-shirts as well with Cal Hall of Fame 2022. Number one on your scorecard, number one in your heart, Ahmad Anderson. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmad. I think the trooper is well deserved by you, the big play.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ralph Sklar. Could you tell us about upcoming High Adventure event?
Well, President Mary, I would love to tell you about our upcoming paddleboard adventure. It's on October 16th. That's a Sunday. It's at 10 a.m. till noon. I've made arrangements with Mike's Paddle in Alameda. It's $90. That's going to be for all the equipment and a lesson. Now, I paddleboard 3 or 4 times a week. And I can tell you, paddleboarding is an absolute blast. You do not need a wetsuit. Interestingly enough, this time of year, the water's actually not cold. But you probably won't fall in. But prepare to fall in. It's kind of fun if you do. And it's $90, and please do sign up, and you can give me a call. My phone number's on the screen if you'd like to discuss it.
Thank you.
Go Bears.
Thank you, Ralph. Okay, Keith Urati, can you tell us about our special club meeting that we will have on October 27th?
Thank you, President Mary. Thursday, October 27th is the date for the Halloween event of a lifetime. We have all gone trick-or-treating, haunted house, Halloween corn maze, or Halloween costume party. But I am certain only a few, or perhaps none of us, have been to a Halloween event at an active mortuary. Ed Braille, you are a genius of sorts. So on Thursday, October 27th, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m., come to the Chapel of the Chimes at 4499 Piedmont Avenue. Dress as you may and enjoy a fun hunting experience. Bring a friend, a spouse, or someone who wants to learn about the depth of Oakland Rotary, humor, and fun. RSVP at oaklandrotary3.com/events, and see you on the 27th.
Thank you, Keith. Yes, Ed would like to get a head count, so it's important for So, yes, so please register online. And so he knows how many, and he's making spooky witch's brew and some sort of savory that they're gonna tickle your bones. So, hey, come register. It could be a big event, let me tell you. All right, now I want to mention that Oakland Rotary is part of Area 1, which includes Oakland Uptown, Piedmont Montclair, and Alameda Rotary Clubs. Doug Moss is the fundraising chair for Oakland Uptown Club. He wants to invite our club to participate in the Area 1 Rotary Club Pie fundraising event during Thanksgiving. Doug, thank you for attending our meeting today. And could you tell us more about your pie fundraising?
Yes, thank you, President Mary, and greetings, fellow Rotarians and guests. As Mary said, I am Doug Moss, and I'm a member of the Oakland Uptown Rotary Club, and I refer to myself as the pie raising chair because I'm here to present our club's Pies for Purpose event. The phrase "buy some, give some" best describes this event, which supports both local businesses and our community. We are supporting local businesses by selling their pies to brighten people's Thanksgiving tables. That's the buy some. And we're serving our community by distributing donated pies, the give some, to local nonprofits that support the unhoused and those in transitional housing so that we can brighten the Thanksgiving tables of families in need. In order to meet our bakers deadlines, the order deadline is November 1st. So please go to oaklanduptownrotary.org to place your orders and learn more. And if anybody in this club has a nonprofit that you want to receive pies, please have your service chair email us at oaklanduptownrotary@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. So how sweet it is if we all buy and donate a pie, right? Okay. Thank you. I'd like to welcome Ruth Strove, who will introduce today's speaker.
Thank you so much, President Mary. I'm so glad to see you today. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to Dan Mitchell of Neuro. If any of you have ordered deliveries of food, or if you're a regular order of just your regular shopping on shopping, you'd be interested to see that Neuro is slowly but surely becoming an autonomous vehicle program to deliver in the delivery space. Doing this work requires is not just advancement in technology, but also a tremendous amount of public policy. So today we invited Dan Mitchell to come and talk to us a little bit more about the work that they're doing at Neuro. Take it away, Dan.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Ruth, and President Mary, and the whole group here. It's good to see all the different activities that everyone is involved with. I grew up in Palo Alto, so I'm a big Stanford fan, so I was a little disappointed to see that image of the Cal game, but still very excited to join everyone here today and talk about what Neuro is doing with our autonomous vehicles. Let me go ahead and share my screen here so you can see the presentation. So Neuro's focus is with autonomous vehicles for local deliveries, building a vehicle with no one inside, just purposely built for these local neighborhood deliveries. It's something that's really only possible with autonomous vehicle technology. And so I'm really excited to, answer questions and talk a little bit about that autonomous technology, as well as Neuro's growth and plan for delivery services. Neuro's on a mission to better everyday life through robotics. The first part of that is we believe that there's a huge opportunity through delivery services to expand that access to robotics. The company was founded in 2016, so just over 6 years old now. We've grown in that short time to 1,300 employees with over $2 billion raised in funding to help us for this effort. It's not going to be easy, but it's something that we're really excited about, and the team that's joined us is very excited about. We've already done thousands of commercial deliveries with these autonomous vehicles on public roads in our different operating areas. The company is headquartered, as I mentioned, I'm from Palo Alto, but in Mountain View as well. So Silicon Valley grown startup, starting actually just in a Airbnb office with 4 or 5 people, growing to where we are today across 5 different states. So why are we focused on delivery services? Well, if you look at the number of trips that people are spending in their vehicles, a huge portion of that, 43% down there at the bottom, is shopping and errands. A lot of the trips that you're taking in your car today, you actually don't need to be in your car for. We could replace those types of trips with delivery services powered by these autonomous vehicles. And so there are a number of other companies working on autonomous vehicles for commuting or recreation or passenger delivery or passenger transportation. Our focus, though, is on the trips for running errands to stores and delivery services where you really don't need to be in the vehicle at all. And so it's a huge business opportunity for us to replace those trips with our autonomous vehicles for delivery services. Not only is this a huge business opportunity, but it presents a lot of opportunities to replace things that maybe aren't sustainable with deliveries today. If you look at the delivery services that are active, or even just think about your trips to the grocery store, your trips running errands, a lot of people are distracted as they're driving in their car, right? With the cell phones, with the radios. A lot of people would rather be doing something else, and you can see that in the way they're behaving in the car. With our vehicles, we could potentially improve the safety of the community by taking those people off the road who'd rather be doing something else. Great, go sit at home on your couch, or go out with friends, and we'll do the driving with our 0 occupant vehicles. So hopefully the safety of everyone can be improved with these types of vehicles. We also can help improve the environment. It's great to see so many people transitioning over to electric vehicles, but not everyone is yet ready to move to 0 emission vehicles. If we can replace people's trips that they currently would be doing in non-electric vehicles with an electric vehicle, we can improve the environment and increase our move towards 0 emissions. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's something that we can at least replace some of the trips that people are doing in internal combustion vehicles with all electric vehicles like our Neuro autonomous vehicles. It was actually just Clean Air Day yesterday. That's part of what Neuro is doing and taking that clean air pledge and helping improve our communities. Even with all the money spent today on food delivery or grocery stores, there's still a lot of people that live in areas that we call food deserts, areas that don't have access to a grocery store. These individuals are, either not getting fresh food and groceries and relying on dollar stores or convenience stores that might not have healthy services, or they're spending a lot of money and time going to a grocery store, which might involve 1 or 2 different bus routes, or they're building a shopping list based on what they can carry, not on what they necessarily need. And with these types of vehicles at hopefully a low cost for delivery, we can expand the access to food deserts as well in other areas. And then finally, as we've seen during the pandemic, a lot of restaurants, local businesses have had to close because they can't reach customers as they're, because delivery services is so expensive. With Neuro's autonomous vehicles that are all electric, we could hopefully lower that cost of delivery and really revitalize the local businesses and the neighborhood services that we rely on with our neighborhood vehicles to get to where we're going and provide those services. We have a lot of data and information. There's a lot more information on our blog, neuro.ai/blog, that you can go to learn more about the different initiatives we're taking, some of the new jobs that are being created as we're expanding our services and hopefully opening it up to more folks. And so I'll leave that for folks that are interested in learning more to do that. So we maybe have a little bit more time at the end for specific questions. Finally, I do want to share that if you're thinking about, again, self-driving vehicles and autonomous vehicles, delivery services is actually one of the first safe applications of autonomous vehicle driving. It was a really unique insight our founders had. Our two founders actually had worked previously at Google's self-driving car project. It's now called Waymo for folks that are familiar with that. They had worked previously before starting Neuro at that company, and they really had the insight that with delivery services, you can make autonomy decisions focused on not the safety and comfort of someone inside the vehicle, but for the folks outside the vehicle. There's not a rush to get where you're going. If you or I were traveling in a car that was going at the speed limit or 25 miles an hour, you tend to get frustrated. You want to go faster. And we've seen that in the way people behave on our roadways. However, with an autonomous vehicle, just carrying groceries or delivery of pizza or other items, we don't feel that pressure to go faster, right? The customer just gets a text message saying the vehicle is going to arrive at 3:15 p.m. and please meet it outside. We can travel at that safer speed. We can take safer routes without a customer in the vehicle kind of complaining about how slow or how fast we're going. And then finally, again, on unlocking those safety designs of the vehicle, it's something that's really, really important to us. There's no one inside the car that we're protecting, so we can focus the features of our vehicle on things like protecting folks outside the vehicle. And in this image you're seeing here of our third generation of our Neuro autonomous vehicle that, again, is built with 0 occupants, we are actually working with a supplier on putting an airbag on the outside of the vehicle to protect, again, those folks on the outside of the vehicle rather than anyone inside the vehicle. This slide here provides a little bit more detail on our vehicle, on some of our sensors and redundant safety features and technology on the vehicle. A couple of things that I'll highlight. It is generally smaller than a traditional sedan, definitely a lot smaller than some of the big Ford F-150 trucks we're seeing on the roadway today that are so dangerous to pedestrians and vulnerable road users. We're also making those design changes where the doors that you've seen in this slide and some of the other slides, they only open on the curb side of the vehicle. We don't want people walking out into the street to where they might be in danger of other cars coming by. We don't want the door to open outward where cyclists are riding and there could be dooring incidents. How can we build this vehicle as safe as possible for the specific purpose of delivery services? And so that's where all of these different design changes and unique features about the Neuro vehicle comes into play. The different sensors we have on the technology, on the previous slide, you might have seen, we have some of our camera sensors, we have LiDAR sensors, we have radar sensors. We've even added front-facing thermal cameras. Each of these different sensors has different strengths and weaknesses, but it's the combination of all the different sensors that really help us see where we're going, detect obstacles, and plan a safe route for the area. So if you think about, like a radar device, right? Police use radar devices a lot of times to detect the speed of a vehicle, how fast it's going, how heavy it might be, and where it's going. So a radar device is really, really great and has strengths around kind of that vehicle speed and speed of other objects around there. The radar device is not going to tell you, though, what color a street light is. It just can't see in that color spectrum. So that's where, a camera comes in. A camera is really, really good at telling you what color a street light is. And so that is something that kind of helps us in that. The camera is not great, though, at detecting how far away an object is. A LiDAR sensor, or a laser radar device is basically what that acronym stands for, is really great about telling you the exact distance, to the centimeter, how far away an object is from us. And so it's the combination of all of these different sensors that really ensures that we can see everything around us. We're always paying attention. We don't have those blind spots. And, in the middle of the night, when again, the camera might not be as good, the radar, the LiDAR, the thermal camera really pick up that slack. And so that's really why we have all these different sensors on the vehicle to help us see where we're going. Once we have the technology in place and are testing it out, the important part is let's make sure it does actually something useful. You can build really awesome technology, but if it's not doing something useful for folks in the community, you're probably building the wrong thing. And so we are working in partnership with some of these leading brands to make sure we're identifying the right use cases for these delivery services, identifying how customers will interact with the vehicle. You can see in the images here, this is R2, our second generation vehicle that we're currently doing these pilots and testing, and take those learnings and make sure it applies to that third generation vehicle, so we can deliver that really awesome customer experience that these leading brands are, really want to make sure is delivered to their customers. This is all something we're really excited about, and these partners are really excited about as well. There are thousands of Domino's stores. Kroger is the US's largest grocery store chain. FedEx, Uber Eats, 7-Eleven. These are all partners that are really invested in building out the right technology to meet their future needs. And so it's something that we're really excited to work with them on. Some of these partnerships are live. Some folks might be familiar with Domino's Pizza pilot we did in Houston, Texas in last year, actually. They ran a national ad campaign about this featuring their lovable little Noid vehicle trying to block our autonomous vehicle's path as it was delivering pizzas. But that was an active pilot, real customers, real pizza delivery, something that we were excited about and we learned a lot from in addition to that national ad campaign. The Kroger grocery store pilot has been happening for 4 years now. Started in Arizona, now mostly happening in Houston, Texas, where during the pandemic, people really did need more delivery services and there weren't people available to help provide them. Neuro stepped up to the plate and we saw 3 times as much demand for delivery services, and we were able to fulfill that gap that was really, really needed at that time. And I think will be needed as we see more uses cases for delivery services, more customers really want to use delivery services rather than going to the store. How some of these active commercial pilots work is Neuro is the delivery service provider. We're not making the pizza. We're not going into the grocery store. I can't for the life of me still figure out how to pick a ripe avocado, but I trust that the grocery store will pick the ripe, the fresh fruit and items. If they're out of stock on something, the Kroger grocery store associate might know what else they have in stock and can replace that item for me. Customers really value that connection with their local store, their local associate. And so we don't get in the way of that. That's still something that's handled completely by the grocery store or the other business. And so as a customer placing an order, you're going to the grocery store website. The grocery store associates are the ones going through the grocery store, picking your items. Neuro is actually just meeting the grocery store associates at the store where they load up our vehicles with the items that you've ordered. And you get that text message letting you know the vehicle is on its way, where to track the vehicle, if you need to adjust the pickup point, or contact someone on the Neuro team because you have a question or an issue about that delivery. You can all go ahead and do it. And so that's where Neuro really fits in on this delivery service picture. We're the experts in delivery. We'll let everyone else and the local businesses really have that relationships with their customers. Lastly, I'll mention here, and it was great to see earlier in the meeting the reference to aviation technology, because this slide, what I really want to reference here is, very similar to that aviation technology, these advances in transportation technology are going to take some time. If you look at the history of aviation technology, from hot air balloons and the Wright brothers, it took 50 to 60 years for us to get to reliable commercial passenger service. And in between, there were a lot of the first aviation commercialization happened in delivery services with US Mail. that really funded the technology development in aviation to get to a point where commercial services was readily available. And so if you parallel that with the autonomous vehicle work, there was a lot of work early on, maybe 10, 15 years ago in research and development. You can see some of the vehicles here. That GM vehicle SUV there actually was the first vehicle to win what's called the Darpa Urban Challenge, where a bunch of universities get together. Actually, one of our founders was part of that university team at Carnegie Mellon that won that Defense Department funded $1 million prize that really kicked off this research and development phases. We're now seeing a lot of early use cases. You can see in here maybe a sidewalk delivery vehicle, one of the neuro delivery vehicles. And there are some companies that are working on that passenger transportation side as well that, just across the bay in San Francisco, we're seeing a lot of those pilots start to happen now as well. There are other autonomous vehicle companies that are working on trucking or maybe a unique custom built vehicle for passenger services as well. And then at the end there, you're looking at, these design concepts or these dream concepts around autonomous vehicles. Where maybe one day you're owning the vehicle and you're falling asleep or you're playing games or doing something else inside of those vehicles. And so there's still a huge amount of opportunity there, but these advances are going to take time. So I'm very excited to be here and kind of give you an early glimpse of some of the work that we're doing in Mountain View and throughout the Bay Area at Neuro on our autonomous vehicles for delivery services. But with that, I'll kind of pause and happy to get deeper into any questions or comments that folks have as we're working through this technology. So thank you very much for having me.
Well, thank you, Dan. Yes, we do have lots of questions, and I'm going to ask the question and then you can answer it, and we try to answer as many questions that's there. Okay, so first one is Alex Posen asked, how many different destinations could be served in one trip?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know what that answer is yet. And it's something that through these pilot programs, we're really exploring. So you see with our vehicle, let me just jump back a couple of slides here, maybe. With our vehicle, you can see there's kind of two compartments at its current configuration here of what that might look like. But maybe we're doing something like prescription medication delivery. You probably don't need two compartments for a small little pill bottle. Maybe we have some type of compartment inside that has smaller lockers, similar to maybe what you see with an Amazon locker at the grocery store now. And so you can see that we're piloting some of those different items as well. So some of it's going to depend on what we're delivering. Some people order a lot of groceries and they need the whole space. Some things hopefully will be smaller as well, and we can do multiple deliveries with one vehicle as well. The vehicle and the battery pack are built for a whole day's worth of deliveries. So multiple stops or multiple trips from one store to many customers, or maybe it's from many stores to one customer, right? You get your dry cleaning, you get your package delivery, you get your dinner all picked up by Neuro and dropped off at your house. So that's taking 3 trips that you would normally happen and combining it into one. I think there's a lot of different opportunities to reduce those total number of trips by combining it into Neuro deliveries.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Now, Ruth Strofe asks, will these vehicles be able to help reduce the amount of packaging that has become so common with delivered goods? And is the interior heated or cool, or how does it know which temperature to use?
Yeah, so for that 3rd generation of vehicle that we see on the screen here, we do have active heating and cooling with those longer trips, a little bit bigger vehicle, possibly multiple deliveries. We do want to keep things hot or things cold as we're doing that. Maybe one day you're going to see this as an ice cream truck going around. And so it's really important to keep that cool. And so that is kind of some of the things that we're working on there. Sustainable packaging is also really important. You can see in some of these images, there's some images with some packaging, there's some images without packaging. A lot of the time, packaging is really important because you don't know where the items are going to be as it's going on delivery, right? If you're doing a delivery today with maybe a third-party delivery that's using some random person's car, you really don't know how clean that car is. And so that packaging is really, really helpful in keeping your items clean and also maybe preventing someone from taking a bite out of that hamburger or something like that. With neuro-autonomous vehicles and no one inside, you really can change the way you're doing some of that packaging. And so we hope that there is a way to do more sustainable packaging or less packaging that might be needed from this. In some of our early pilots, we actually saw customers really want this with grocery delivery and kind of brown paper bags. We saw a couple of customers actually after their delivery come back out to the vehicle and put their brown paper bags back in the vehicle to return them to the store. And so I think there's something we can do there with kind of more sustainable packaging where the vehicle is able to wait for you, you're able to unload the items and come back out. But if you're paying someone to be there, that actually can be really expensive to wait and do that return. But with neuro, maybe it's something that's cheaper to do on a more consistent basis. And so hopefully it opens up a way to do more sustainable packaging for a lot of different types of retailers.
Okay, great. Stephanie Kazenza asked, how do you ensure that the products being delivered remain intact or safe? Because if you look at your picture, if the vehicle has to come to a sudden stop when things start flying around?
Yeah, I mean, that is something where we're, again, thinking about as we're doing deliveries and as we're doing these pilots, how do we keep the information, the things inside secure? You'll see on the screen there, actually in the middle, the name Alex is on our touch screen that's there in the middle. How the delivery services work right now to keep your items secure is you actually get a text message with a unique code. And as you approach the vehicle, you interact with that screen there and you'll enter in your own personal code onto that screen to make sure the door opens that only has your items in it. Now, again, in us thinking about safety as our top priority with these types of vehicles, God forbid something does happen and we do need to stop really, really quickly, we're going to make that decision to stop as quickly as possible to protect the person outside the vehicle, even if it does mean damaging something inside the vehicle. Again, there's no passengers or us to protect. Some vehicles will not stop as quickly as they need to or make different decisions on how they're driving because they need to protect the occupant or the safety and their comfort of the occupant. If we do need to remake that pizza because we damaged it, because we stopped really, really quickly to prevent an accident, I think that's a trade-off we're all happy to make in these cases. Hopefully it doesn't happen very frequently, but in the event that it is going to happen, let's make that trade-off and damage the items inside of our vehicle rather than injure anyone outside the vehicle.
Okay, good. Now, Carrie Hamill asks, who steps up to accept responsibility when something goes wrong with the delivery? All self-driving technologies has had some growing pains like accidents, stalls, poor routing, and never got to the destination, etc.
Yeah, that's why we're doing these pilots. That's why we have a phased development process where we do a lot of testing and driving prior to deploying our vehicles and prior to deploying our delivery services. But we all know those things are going to happen. Eventually, these vehicles are going to get flat tires. And so we have a team of people that are on standby, kind of ready to assist these vehicles as needed, either from a remote command center that's constantly monitoring and tracking our vehicles that can do customer service and other things, or from an on-the-ground team of fleet technicians. And so one of the things we're working on is how do we expand the ability to have more fleet technicians as we expand our fleet size? So we've actually partnered with De Anza Community College, one of the local community colleges in the Bay Area, to do a training program for fleet technicians to help us work on these things because we know things are going to get wrong. We want people trained, employed by Neuro in all of our different operating areas that can help us ensure that, through these delivery services, we're doing as much as possible to make sure these are continue to operate safely and reliably on the roadway. And in the cases that they don't, we're there quickly to move them out of the way or for them to know how to move themselves out of the way so that they're not causing a disturbance in the middle of the street.
Okay. Well, I have a question. So I guess the company you're partnering is bearing the cost of these autonomous vehicles. How much does one of these little cute car cost?
Yeah, It's not something where we're able today to provide kind of the specifics around the cost of the vehicle. With our second generation vehicle and the small batch manufacturing that we did with our two vehicles, it's still very expensive to build these vehicles. But the goal with that third generation vehicle is to build it at a scale where you can reduce that cost, because that is really what we need to do, right? There are delivery services that exist today. In fact, I think I saw somewhere there's a company that's doing now delivery services where someone will come into your house and actually put the groceries into your fridge for you. I think that's not going to be, replaced by a robot anytime soon. That's not something that we're focused on doing. There are always going to be people willing to pay for that. But really, only if we're able to reduce the cost by reducing the cost of the vehicle, by reducing the operations cost, can we really unlock all the benefits that we were talking about earlier in terms of people getting their weekly groceries, access to food deserts. And so this is something that is our primary goal, is how do we get this cost as low as possible and then pass those cost savings on to the customers so they can get really safe, reliable, and affordable delivery on a regular basis.
Okay, thank you. Nick Peterson asks, are you using any edge computing infrastructure for processing sensor data or running models for making prediction? Was that all done on the neural AV?
Yeah, it's hard for me to get into too much detail around that, but I will mention neuro.ai/about. We recently just released a new video series about some of our autonomous technology and our computing systems. That latency, that edge computing, that AI machine learning work is something that's really, really critical to getting this right and done safely, because our computing system needs to not only sense that there are people around it, it needs to predict where those people are going to be over the next couple of seconds, and then needs to plan a path out and then take the actions needed to stop or reroute or build that route around where it's going. And so all that needs to happen really, really quickly. And, a very significant portion of our 1,300 employees are working on solving some of those issues around that computing technology. And so if you're interested in that, not only are we hiring, we'd love for you to come help us with some of that, but there's a lot more information online about some of that technology.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think Nick should talk to you because he's very interested in your presentation.
I'm happy to address other questions as well. After this event, if other questions come up, you can always reach me, dan@neuro.ai. I did want to actually mention as well, before we get to a couple more questions, I did want to mention that we do have a couple of our neuro autonomous vehicles actually in the Oakland area. As we go through our deployment process, I mentioned previously, we start with a Prius vehicle platform. So, a Toyota Prius that you're used to seeing on the road, maybe, the neighbor drives. We outfit it with the different camera systems, sensor systems, and compute systems. It drives around a different area to collect map data so we can plan out and understand what all the different road features in. And then it uses that autonomous sensors and computer system, just like our zero occupant vehicles, to drive itself in the areas. And so as we're planning our future expansions in the Silicon Valley and San Francisco Bay Area, we have started to deploy some of those vehicles in the East Bay and throughout other parts of the peninsula and South Bay Area. And so you may actually see a neuro vehicle. It's going to be a Prius vehicle, probably sooner, rather than one of the zero occupant vehicles. And then one day you'll see one of those zero occupant vehicles happening on the road as well. Those Prius vehicles will always have a safety operator inside, so you can give them a little wave. They have additional information about kind of our Prius operations and that type of, and the technology we have on those vehicles as well. So they're always happy to answer some of those questions that the neighbors have as well, as they first see some of these autonomous vehicles in their neighborhood or area.
Wow, I mean, we're getting lots of questions, fast and furious for you. Joe Garaka asked, have you had any vehicles damaged or stolen en route? What happened? You have a flat tire, you have to go retrieve that vehicle?
Yeah, so that's what happens today, is going and have to retrieve that vehicle. But again, the technology that we're building into these vehicles includes things like a tire pressure monitoring sensor that can actually predict when there is a blowout of the vehicle tire before it happens. So we can do that preventative maintenance. Sometimes you're going to run over a screw and there's nothing you can do about that. But some of the things that are preventable, we really leverage all the new technology that's out there in the field today to really do that preventative maintenance and try to avoid these things from happening. On the public roads with our autonomous technology, we have not had any crashes or incidences related to our autonomous technology on the roadway. And so that's something that we're pretty proud of. But we know at some point that is going to happen. And we do work very closely with law enforcement and other first responders to make sure they have the information that they need to respond to any of those incidents that happen as well.
Okay, good. I think maybe one or two more questions. Ed Jelen asks, how does the recipient learn that the goods has arrived at the recipient's home or business address? Do they get a text?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So they get a text message telling them, the vehicle's on its way, here's when to expect it. Most of the customers have already booked a specific delivery time. So the Kroger grocery store right now offers a 1-hour delivery window. So you already know the vehicle is coming some point between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. during the day, because that's what you booked when you place your order delivery through Kroger. We will then send the text message that has that specific delivery time and the map where you can actually track on the route where the vehicle is and when it might arrive at your location.
Okay, but then when we saw the picture, you got about 5 grocery bags, and you say each vendor order, the customer has their own code to open up a door to get their stuff. But you got 5 groceries, so how do you know they don't take the neighbor's groceries bag?
Yeah, so we set it up so just the compartment that has your groceries. So when there's just those 2 big open compartments, there's just 2 customers, but there was also that image of like the FedEx delivery with like a bunch of smaller lockers. And so those smaller lockers would only open as needed for you.
Okay, great. I think you've been very, Peter Shares did ask one question. How do you react to Tesla not using LiDAR and eliminating radar and US sensors on their car?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment too much on Tesla, other than what I understand or what they've communicated to government regulators is that they are working on a driver assistance technology, not an autonomous vehicle technology. And so their driver assistance technology will always rely on a person being in the vehicle that's able to take control of the vehicle at all times, or is responsible and liable for any issues, is my understanding of what they're working on as a driver assistance technology, not an autonomous vehicle technology that really relies on no one being in the vehicle.
Okay, well, thank you. Daniel, I want to thank you for that awesome and fascinating technology about AI and autonomous car presentation. As you know, education is my area of focus for this year. The Rotary Club of Oakland is proud to partner with Oakland Promise to offer 8 $10,000 scholarships annually, along with mentorship from Rotarians. We are proud to support many as the first in their family to go to college. In recognition of your presentation today, Oakland Rotary will make a donation in your name to the Oakland Promise to support its kindergarten to college program for every child in the city of Oakland. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for that effort. Education and getting students excited about these new STEM technologies and these new careers is something that we're really excited about as well. We host a number of student groups at our offices to get them excited about this technology. So if folks do have questions, again, my email is dan@neuro.ai. Our website, neuro.ai, has some great videos of customers getting deliveries and other items. But thank you so much for taking the time to learn about this today and the work you're doing as part of the Rotary Club in Oakland. Really appreciate all of that.
Okay, thank you. I also want to mention that Ruth Strove would like to ring a bell for Amar Anderson. Can you guys hear that bell? A bell ringer is a generous tax-deductible donation of $1,000 to our Oakland Rotary Endowment. If you'd like to ring the bell to celebrate an event or share a celebration, please put it in the chat box and I will recognize your bell ring.
Excuse me, Mary, as much as I know Ruth is a very generous person, you said a bell ringer is $1,000.
I'm sorry.
I'm not
it's
sure
not
she was ready to do that.
It's
We all love a
$100.
Bob.
$100. Too many one, too many zero. Okay, Joe Garaka would like to ring the bell for Ahmad, a winner both on and off the field. Okay, so Joe Garaka, $100. All right, thank you. At this point, I'd like to ask CJ Hirschfield, will you tell us a little bit about next week's speaker?
Thank you, President Mary. Well, I'm thinking that beer will be popular with autonomous vehicle delivery services. I think that's probably a safe bet. Did you know that malt is the heart of beer and that locally produced and holistically fresh malt provides a flavor that consumers love? Well, next week, come hear Master Maltster Ron Silverstein of Admiral Maltings in Alameda's Spirits Alley, who supplies Anchor, Sierra Nevada, Drake's, Almanac, and 300 other craft brewers and distillers. Listen to him preach the gospel of drinking local. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm trying to see if we can get some samples.
That'd be great. All right. Thank you, Carrie, for the thought for today. Tom Lemon for telling us about the ballet event. Ahmad Anderson for the wonderful information about the football game and honoring you. Ralph Scalar for the high adventure for paddle boarding. Keith for the offsite club information. Great, Ruth for introducing this week's speaker. Daniel Mitchell for this awesome and enlightening presentation. CJ Hirschfield for the teaser for next week. And the production team for managing this whole meeting together. So, share, and means thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned. Bye-bye.